Hello everyone. I usually like to start off a review with more energy, but this blaster is cursed. This is the third time that I have recorded a review of the Vision. Such a frustrating experience that I finally set up OBS, which is really good and will be handy for when I'm streaming. We're going for a third time. Obviously, I've already unboxed this. I do want to talk a little bit about what my first impressions were before I took it out of the box. It's kind of a shame that that footage was lost because when I got this and looked at it in the box and it was sitting in there so blue and yellow and sleek, I actually thought, you know what? This might be one of the best ones. Even before taking it out of the box, I was like, this is way more impressive in person than seeing pictures of it or seeing it online. And I really like an internal magazine. I think this can be a great way to keep a blaster topped up and loaded. So I was excited about this one. And then I used it. I took it out of the package. I'm kind of giving things away here. I don't like to be Mr. Negative Nerf guy. If anything, I'm a very positive Nerf guy about most things. The first thing that kind of struck me with this blaster, though, is I pulled it back to give it a try and tried to fire it. Thought it was like the Fate with a T-pole that you just fire. Simple. But you actually have to push this one back in. So not a huge deal. I figured that out. But the problem is, when you pull this out, when you're priming it and pulling on this, because it's thinner, it's already bending a lot more than I would like. And I do like that it's kind of that ring pull and I can get 2 fingers in there. So I can easily, regardless of what my strength is, I can easily prime it. But it also, when I close it sometimes, if I go to quickly close it, it would bend before it would go back in. I really wasn't liking that. Other overview, I guess, of the features of this blaster, it does have a safety that is, you can reach from both sides. The sight is good. At first, I actually thought that it was just adjustable up and down here, like on the Fate, but it actually can swivel left and right as well. And it snaps into place pretty good. It's actually probably a more sturdy multi-adjustable sight than on the Pathfinder. So that's pretty neat. And I think for looks, I love the snubby noses of these blasters, of this one, and the Fate, and the Pathfinder. I like kind of looking at it. I like the angles of this. Like, this looks like a very sci-fi sleek blaster. Where it starts to fall apart is when I'm using my very human hand to hold something like the Fate or most blasters, my wrist is completely, relaxed and straight. When I'm aiming straight down my arm, my wrist is comfortable. When I'm using a human hand with the Vision and have it relaxed the same place as where the Fate would be, I am holding this blaster and firing it up at a 30-degree angle in the air. So to correct for that, I have to bend my wrist down very uncomfortably. I fired a couple magazines worth of shots through this and my wrist hurt. That's kind of wild. If we hold this up, you can see what a drastic difference the angle of attack on this one grip over the other is. It's just incredibly uncomfortable. I'm not going to use this blaster because of that. It's not comfortable. Unless I open this up and hacked it apart and re-epoxied and actually tried to change the angle of this grip, I can't imagine me using it. It hurt my wrist, which, it sounds really dramatic, but we all know if you're using this all day, it doesn't take long for something to get uncomfortable. That's when we notice its flaws, is when we're using it over and over. And it did not take long to pick up that flaw. This is a blaster that could have been one of the best ones for me personally in the series, and now it's kind of a big regret. I kind of wish I could return it. That's saying something if you've seen my collection. Let's run this over the chronograph and get some numbers. It does have a lot of pop to it. It is accurate. It's really accurate, which is really unfortunate. And not to give anything away, but it hits harder than my Fate or my Pathfinder. Womp womp. Rival Vision. Let's go. 97. Let's look at 97. 95. 99. 96. 96. 98. So the one with the worst ergo has the best performance. Great. Let's see some numbers from the Rival Finisher. 74. 53. What? 83. 78. I think I remember why we didn't like the Finisher. 72. I mean, maybe that's been left primed a few times, but geez. I do remember the performance of that not being fantastic back when I got it. And now let's try the X-Shot Meteor. 86. 94. 90. 92. 91. 94. Pretty good. And just one shot through the Fate for fun. 80. And one shot through the Pathfinder for fun. 84. You saw in the chronograph footage, I did run through some numbers through the Finisher. The Finisher's performance is abysmal. It feels even worse than when I got it. I wonder if this was left primed for a while. That is the bane of my existence down here in the basement armory, but it does happen. But I bring this one out for a comparison because it does have kind of a similar silhouette, I guess, even though these magazines are not fixed. I think it's a fairly fair one to compare it to if you're looking for similar Rival. The other one that I compared it to was the Meteor. And this has a really similar silhouette. This one holds 6 shots. This one holds more. Is it 8? Is it 10? It's 8. It holds 8. I almost said, who cares? But it's a review, so I'll tell you. It holds 8. This holds 6. I thought this was a fair comparison. This one's a lot cheaper, so, you know, almost the same performance. This one, more than I remembered, does have kind of that swept back grip, but not as bad. Like, this is at a bit of an angle. If I'm kind of relaxing, I do have to adjust a little bit, but not like this. I have to adjust my wrist so much. I'm sad. I don't know. There's not really a good excuse for this in my mind. I can't imagine if more than a handful of people were able to fire this or fire prototypes of it, that this wouldn't have come up. It's too bad. I had more energy in my previous 2 takes of this video, so the Vision is definitely suffering a little bit, not only from its bad ergo, but from my frustration at doing this twice. When you're doing stuff for fun, it's really fun to do it the first time. You kind of grin and bear it and roll your eyes if you have to do something a second time, but a third time for something that you don't really like is not super fun. I really like that the handle and grip and the trigger, I like that this was all open compared to something like the Meteor where everything's kind of closed in. I liked the openness of this. I thought that was really nice looking design. I love the colors probably more than ever on this one. You know, just lots and lots of blue. I really like that. What else can I say? I'm just going to push this review live. And I'd love to hear what you guys think. Was I too hard on this? Was I overly affected by my grumpy having to do this 3 times? You tell me. I'm going to wrap this up by saying too, one last note on those Rival AccuStrike balls. I've mentioned in my reviews that I found almost no difference at any range I was testing at. But Joe over at XFoxGames, he actually did a video. He took a Percy's. He ran a few hundred rounds of the blue AccuStrike rounds, a few hundred of the regular Rival rounds, and you really could, firing that many at a high rate of fire through a Percy's, you could see that those blue rounds did have a tighter grouping. So I thought that was pretty cool. That was something I was thinking about doing at some point. He beat me to it, so I'd rather just send you there and support a Nerf friend. Go check out that video and let him know what you think of that. I would say if you're mostly a Springer person, it doesn't matter which ones you use. I really wish I hadn't reviewed this one last. I really liked this series a whole lot. I really like... Oh, it's so much more comfortable. I really like the Fate, despite magazine gate and some of the old mags not working. I really like the Pathfinder. I think it's a nice blaster. The Pathfinder and the Fate, my versions, are a bit underpowered. That was a little bit of a bummer. You can see that in my reviews. Not everyone has had the same results as me. It's a bit annoying to me that the Vision had the highest numbers over my chronograph. But Such is life. I'm really glad Rival's still alive. More of this, more of this. Please never, ever, ever do this again. Thanks a lot for watching. I think the next thing I review is going to be that Minecraft hammer, and I can't imagine any way that I won't have fun with that. Keep an eye out for that one. Talk soon. Quick insert, in the cover image, I do show the side swipe. I was originally thinking it would kind of fall in the ballpark, but between being able to shoulder it and it being bolt action, I kind of changed my mind. Different enough to not qualify. Plus, it's actually good.